Why are razors so expensive? Maybe it's because those billion-dollar shaving companies overload their razors with ridiculous shave tech you don't need. Do you really need a razor with a vibrating handle? Kristen, do you need... Well, maybe we do, actually. A razor with a vibrating handle, that would be kind of fun, but dangerous. Back scratcher and laser pointer? No. Stop paying out of the nose and make the switch to DollarShaveClub.com. DollarShaveClub.com sends amazing quality razors and other cool bathroom stuff right to your door for a couple bucks a month. DollarShaveClub.com doesn't waste their money on ridiculous shave tech gimmicks. That's one of the ways they can charge a fraction of what the big shave companies charge. And signing up couldn't be easier. Just go to DollarShaveClub.com and pick a razor plan. They have 3 to choose from. Then every month, like clockwork, you'll get a package in the mail with Dollar Shave Club blades. That's pretty cool. And they've got other great stuff like Dr. Carver's Easy Shave Butter and One Wipe Charlie's, the peppermint-infused butt wipes for men. Say no to the big shave companies and their ridiculously overpriced shave tech. Join Ask Women and the hundreds of thousands of guys who've upgraded the smarter way to shave. Shave time, shave money. Join DollarShaveClub.com/AskWomen. That's DollarShaveClub.com/AskWomen.
The following program is a PodcastOne.com production.
PodcastOne.com presents the Ask Women Podcast. A place where 2 comics and a professional wing girl get together to dissect the female mind.
You don't know how I feel.
And explain it to men in terms they can actually understand. Boobs. Now, here's the lovely ladies of Ask Women.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Ask Women podcast, where you get real advice straight from the source. I'm Kristen Carney, one of your co-hosts, along with Marni Kinrys, the best-selling author and relationship expert. And this is going to come as a surprise to our listeners, but we're not here with Mo today. We'll talk about that in a second, but we're here with Paul Palmieri.
PP.
Which is the most, American Italian name ever.
I know, seriously.
But it's funny. It's like being named like Carl Carlson or something.
Yeah, my name is tough. I did, however, meet a Luke Lukerson the other night.
No.
And I was like,
parents
I gotta
do
be
this to
honest
them.
with you, that's worse than my name.
I don't think your name is bad.
No, I like your name. It's catchy. But
Thank
Luke
you.
Lukerson, he should just kill himself.
Yeah, that's
seriously,
tough.
right now. 100%.
I saw it and I was just like, oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
I identify, but that's real tough.
Right.
And then you were so much nicer to him. Maybe that's his thing.
Nah, I hazed him a little bit.
Did you talk to him about it?
Very briefly. It was at work, so I didn't really have time to.
Did you say what were your parents
really
thinking?
bro down. No, I figured he got it. See, I got enough of that, so I'm just like,
Right.
I know what you do and don't want to hear when you have a name that people are like, what is your name?
Right.
And
Did you
it's
say
like,
that to him? You're like, I get you.
there was eye contact. There was a second too long of eye
I
contact.
think there would be bonding
Yeah.
over this,
A little bit.
definitely.
Well, I told my boyfriend that Mo wasn't going to be here and that I was just in conversation. And I said, well, this kid, his name's Paul, and that was the first time I ever said your name because I see it on Facebook or whatever. But I said Paul Palmieri, and as I said it, I was like, "What did I just say?" And then he's like, "His name's Paul Palmieri." He's like, "That's amazing." And we're from I'm from a really small town, but it's all Italian, and everyone's last name's Palmieri.
Really?
The mayor's name's Palmieri.
Spelled the same way or with 2 eyes?
No, spelled the same way.
Wow.
Maybe they're your family.
Maybe
they're
I
all
should
Italian,
be in
they're
small town government.
Total goombas. Yeah.
Totally.
So I feel right at home with you.
Fantastic. Well, it's good to be here.
Thanks
Thanks
you.
for having
Great
me
to
as
have you
the
here.
Mo replacement.
Yeah, so Mo's gone, you guys.
I know.
This
Don't be
is-
depressed. Please still continue to listen. I know that's the only reason you listen to the show is because of Mo. But
Right.
yeah, he's gone. He has moved on to brighter and greener pastures, and he wants to pursue his own stuff.
This is a very dull green.
Yes, a very dull green. Bald green.
Yeah, he was bald. just so
yes.
you know. Yeah. And that's
But, yeah.
actually not fun because everything he says, I'm like, yeah, but you're bald.
Right.
And you have hair.
Yes.
Everyone, he has hair. So I'm going to have to
Yeah.
figure this out.
So he's gone.
Yeah.
He is no longer with us. But I'm sure he's going to pop up somewhere. I'm sure you can find him on Twitter because he's very active on Twitter.
Yeah.
So don't worry. He's not disappearing completely. But yeah, we will not be having him on the show anymore. And Paul might be here a little bit longer. Maybe not. We'll see how he does today.
He's like, well, I'll see if I
Yeah.
like this.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, these girls
Well,
are
so
already
far,
crazy.
I'm having a great time.
Really?
Yes.
Good.
See how easily
I'm
we're-
failing miserably then
I know.
because I want to fuck with you.
I know, seriously. We want you to hate us.
Right.
So actually, Paul, we'll tell you about how this show works since
All
this
right.
is your first time. We provide advice to the amazing men of the world who want advice on women, which I think those are the best types of men.
I don't know about the amazing part.
What do you mean?
I'm just kidding. I love our listeners.
Yeah, I freaking love our listeners. Like, okay, I had this one guy who's a client of mine right now. who wrote into me today. And I was actually kind of sad because he was talking about, his lack of confidence, and he was just really down on himself. And I hated hearing that. And I'll say, listen, I've only had one session with you so far, but here's what I know about you based on the fact that you are working with me. Number one, you're a proactive, driven man who wants to better himself, which is
already
super
Paul can't
sexy.
relate.
I know, you're like, I don't understand what you're talking about. No, but the thing is like, and I can go on and on and on about the guys who, and the girls who listen to this show. Anybody who listens to this show because, yes, of course, we're freaking hilarious and awesome, but they also want information on how to improve their interpersonal relationships with the opposite sex or possibly the same sex. And I think that anybody who is out there looking to gain information so they can better themselves is by far a superior person. So our audience, I think they are superior people, and I'm proud of who they are.
And it's funny, I realize that I don't surround myself with superior people because I know no one who seeks out information.
You're like,
I really don't. Like,
I don't want to know anything.
They're stagnant. They smell.
Really?
They're going nowhere. I'm referring to my family. No, I'm referring to my family.
But yeah, Paul, I want to hear about you because you're engaged. Am I right?
Yes,
yeah. Okay,
I'm
so you're
engaged.
recently engaged or engaged?
September.
Okay, so recently
September,
engaged.
Yes, recently engaged.
Okay. And
Getting
how
married
long?
in October.
Wow. Really?
Yes.
That's so nice.
Yes, it was very nice. I wanted, when I say I mean we. And by we, I mean she.
Right. That's how it
wanted
works.
about a year engagement because I've seen long engagements and what happens in those. And,
they don't get married.
Oh, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
I love this. Like, it's like you have a little insecurity, or like, if I don't nail this down now, I could start losing my hair within 6
Well, I'm
months.
never going to lose my hair. Let's just get one thing.
Look at that thick thing.
Look at this
That
thing.
is nice hair. He's the opposite of Mo. He's got too much hair.
I was told recently that I have an aggressive hairline, and I didn't know what to say, so I just said, thank you.
Yeah, that is
That's
a
a good
compliment.
response.
You don't want a like diminutive hairline. That's
Who
not a
said
compliment.
this to you? Your barber or like a girl?
No, a fellow, another comic was just like, I just got to be honest with you, I was scared to talk to you because of your hair.
Really? Because it's so aggressive?
Apparently.
It does look like I could injure the finger if you touch it. It's a little spiky.
Yeah, well, everyone's got their defense mechanisms. Mine is just my hair.
Well, so let me ask you about your fiance. How long were you dating her? How did you know you wanted to marry her?
We were together for 2 years, but we had been talking for a few months before we first ever even went on a date. We met completely randomly. And then just
Wait, randomly explain.
So she's also a comedian. I was flying back from
So two depressed people.
correct. Two depressed people that are very attractive.
Yeah.
Gives a reason to live.
I was flying back from a wedding from one of my oldest friends back in New Jersey, and the only route I could get home from the airport was my friend Casey, who was like, I can pick you up, but I'm hosting the show down in Costa Mesa. You'd have to come. And I was like, oh, whatever. What else am I doing? And my fiance was on that show, and I had never met her before. I had never seen her before. And Kristen, you could probably identify.
And you're like,
with
and
this.
we're already engaged? Weird.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
When you do comedy for a certain amount of time, and you're doing you're kind of progressing along the same a certain track, you think everyone kind of on the same track.
Yeah, that's
so when
what
you
I would
meet
think.
someone or see someone for the first time who's talented and funny, you're like, who's this? Where were they hiding?
Right.
So she was just on that show, and her face got me right away. She
Right.
got bangs and her stupid little smile, and I was just like, I gotta talk to this girl. And then in her act, she talked about how she grew up in New Jersey. She went to Rutgers.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, oh, boom, there's my in. And I went up to her after the show, and I was like,
Rutgers.
hey, what's up? I just flew. Yeah, you were really funny. I just flew back from. I'm Paul. I just flew back from New Jersey, and she was like, "Thank you," and then continued with her conversation. And I was
Like, good line, buddy.
I was like, "Didn't you hear me? Like, my name's Paul. I'm from New
If you had
Jersey."
thrown in your last name, she would have paid
Right.
attention.
Probably. I was like, "You're really funny," and she was like, "Uh-huh." And apparently, I was interrupting her, and then my friend, who God bless her, was like, could sense what was going on. Was like, "Let's get you out of here."
She's a good wing girl. I like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then about like a week later, I ran into her randomly at a mutual friend's house, and I was like, "Oh, hello, hi, good to see you again."
Paul from Jersey.
Yeah, and she was like, "Hey."
She's like, I know by looking at you. Like,
Right.
You don't have to say it again.
And she was like, "Hey," and I could tell she didn't really remember. And I was like, "Paul, we met last week." And she was like, "Oh yeah, good to see you." And I was like, "Good to see you." What is she? crazy? Who is this girl? And then,
She
like,
not know who I am?
Exactly. And then, like, a week later, same exact thing. Randomly, I was either going to or coming from the Comedy Store. She was doing the same thing, and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And she was like, "Hey, tell me your name again." I was like, "You forgot my name? Who are you?" So a few things like that happened, and then finally,
Did you talk to her more, or was it really just like I'm?
No, each time I was like, no.
Like,
I mean, it
that was her
basically, as I could tell, and I know her now, and she just doesn't have like the most impressive memory. So
Right.
like I know
Does she
now that
remember
she
you
wasn't.
now?
She remembers me now.
Okay, good.
So I know now that it wasn't anything personal, but it was like at the
Kind of
time I
was.
was like, "Are you serious? Do you really not remember me?" So that kind of became my in, where I would just bust her chops on like. We would talk more, and then I'd be like, "By the way, I'm Paul. I don't know if you're okay." You know what I mean?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So then you started having real conversations.
Yeah, and then I eventually got her number, and then I just started texting her.
She forgot her number though.
Right.
Yeah.
You looked in his
So
phone.
when
her phone.
did she find you attractive when she first saw you?
She tells me that she did now. I mean,
Okay.
now she tells me that she did, but at the time she was very standoffish and just kind
That's
of like.
that's how you felt.
That's
was.
how I felt. You
And
know.
Did she think that she was flirting?
Maybe, I guess. She was like, "You were cute, but I could tell you were into me." And I was just like, "Oh, yeah, this kid has a crush on me."
Yeah.
Really?
And she also thought I was a kid. She also thought I was like in my mid-20s.
Why? How old is
And
she?
I'm not. She's 31 now.
How old
And
is
She
she?
was 29 at the time. I'm 32.
Oh, so you're older than her.
Correct.
So you
But she
have a
thought
baby
I was, yes, she thought I was much younger, and she was just like, "I don't even want to deal with this kid, comedian,
Really?
not even like." And then once she found out, I remember she asked me, she goes, "How old are you, Paul Mary?" She used to call me by her last name.
I like
So I
that.
called her by her last name. She said, "How old are you, Paul Mary?" And I was like, "I'm 30. And she was like, "Oh, you're 30? And I was like, "Yeah." And it was like,
So now I can talk to
almost
you.
kind of like a switch. And she was like, "Oh, okay. So you've like
Interesting.
lived a little bit of a life." Yeah.
Well, so I know that now you have her, obviously, so it worked out well.
Yes.
But looking back on those first few interactions, are there different things that you wish you had done to get her attention earlier?
Absolutely not.
Really?
Absolutely
It
not.
worked out.
Okay. It worked out, yeah.
Yeah, it worked
I guess
out.
you can't say that if it worked out perfectly.
And I didn't do anything too stupid or I'm going to regret this later-ish.
But
at all.
apparently-
It all happened very organically.
Apparently, she thought you were like a little puppy dog who was in love with her.
I mean, yeah, I do have puppy dog eyes when I want
That
to
is
have
true.
them. So.
I could see that.
Thank you, Marni.
What about other girls? So, what was your dating life before? Because I want to find out engagement, how you knew you wanted to marry her, but I
Okay.
want to go back to before this girl. What's her name? Can you say
Her
it?
first name is Amaya.
Is Maya.
Amaya.
Amaya.
Which was another major thing. I'm
pretty.
big on names.
She's Amaya.
Amaya. A-M-A-Y-A.
Like this, Amaya,
So-
Kristen, Marni. Interesting. So that's awesome. Okay, so before Amaya,
Once I found out the name, I was like, "Oh boy, I'm in trouble."
hooked.
If her
we'll
name
rip
was
into
like,
this girl.
you know, I've always been
Ruth?
into names. Yeah, if her name was Ruth, if anyone's name was Ruth, I'd
You'd
be
have a
like,
feeling.
"Nice to. We got to talk about your name."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
Talk to
the
those
thing that
parents.
you did do that was different after those first interactions was you did start teasing. And I think a lot of guys get afraid to tease because they're afraid to either lose attraction, insult, whatever it is.
Right.
That's their fear. But prior to Amaya, how were you with women? Were you successful?
I would say I was successful. Yes, I wasn't I was successful in. God, how do I say this without sounding terrible?
You can sound terrible. It's a podcast. You can say whatever you want.
Podcast
After
what?
Mo, anything's
I
gonna
know,
sound
seriously.
like
They're gonna be like, this
I
guy's
gotta
a
meet-
pussy.
I gotta meet this guy.
Yeah.
If there's a bald guy
You are being a
drinking
little
in my
bit of a
bar
pussy.
alone later, I'm gonna be like, "You Mo by any chance?"
Yeah, exactly. He kept telling us about all the girls that wanted to get it on with him. It
Oh, well, in that
it was in a
case-
dream world for him.
All right, so that's the bar. It's set pretty low. No, I was successful. I never really had a problem. Starting out, I was not very confident with women because I didn't mature until I was about like 17 or like 16, 17. I didn't hit puberty till very late. So
No.
like I didn't always have the confidence that I have today, obviously, as a 16-year-old child. You know, I'm learning to forgive myself about that. But I was successful, but I mean, as far as in relationships go, I wasn't really bringing a lot to the table. I never was a cheater. I was never, a bad person. My mom raised me correctly. I have manners. I hold doors. I do all
Totally
the right
different
things.
from Mo.
But looking back, I was not. I was more focused on your problems than mine. And let's fix your problems, because if we address your problems, then we don't have to think about my problems.
Yours. Right.
Did you find yourself in the friend zone a lot with girls? Because I could see you being really nice
Big
to girls.
Big
I don't want
time.
to say nice. I could see you not asking for what you want with women.
Yeah, I mean, I always had a lot of girlfriends growing up, and then friend zoned pretty hard in high school, and then never again.
So tell me about the never again.
I mean, I never really made that mistake. There was girls I was friends with, but it was always by my choice. It wasn't like, oh, I'm in love with you and I'll do anything to hang out with you, AKA, you have me, so you just can do whatever you want with me.
Well, that's interesting. So when did you realize that was what was happening when you were in the friend zone? Because a lot of guys don't realize.
I realized once I was in the friend zone. It was high school. It was senior year of high school.
Well, what about your 20s?
Early.
20s, I mean, once I got to college, it was just kind of on a little bit, so to speak.
Yeah. Were you a player?
Yeah, I mean, yes, but it only because it was just entirely too easy where I went to school.
Community college?
Yes. Community college down the street from my house.
I want to find out why it was, why this switch. Like, how did it go from, I'll do anything for you, to I understand my own self-worth, and I'm not going to do anything for you?
Mostly alcohol.
And you're going to do a lot for me.
Mostly drugs and alcohol.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Became once college happened and it just became, I figured out sort of how to play the game a little bit. It just came very naturally.
Where did you go to college?
I went to Bentley College in Waltham, Massachusetts, which is now Bentley University, so I'm told.
Yeah.
Which was not, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Was it at all like, I'm not trying to put you in a hole, but was it at all a little bit of a Jersey Shore style experience, your college years?
No, I mean, okay.
Is there fist
I should have let the whole question get to my brain before I said
Before
you're like, yes.
kind
like
of.
clubs and fist bumping and
big time. I mean, that was just kind of the scene I rolled in.
Yeah.
I feel like that's college.
Yeah, I
but
feel like, yeah.
Is it more? I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, East Coast, I can kind of see that crowd gathering around.
Yeah, and also it was a small school in Massachusetts, and I was from New Jersey, and no one really liked me because I was from New Jersey.
Okay.
So I was kind of like a little bit of an outcast.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I found that girls kind of liked that a little bit.
Right.
And it just got into, I mean, when I say easy, it's not like I'm the,
It's like you stand in the corner with like a cigarette and a leather jacket.
It was just like, I remember my friend James being like, what are you doing, man? And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, you're a nice guy. Like, I don't want to see you turn into this kind of like who you're turning into. And I remember being like hearing his point and being like, but it's not that I'm setting out to do anything. There would just be parties in my room all the time, and sure enough, throughout the night I'd be like, hey, what's up? And the girl would be like, hi. And then before you know it, that was who I was sleeping with that night. It was just kind of like that. It wasn't like, I'm going to go out.
I want to understand this transition, though. I really want to understand it. Like, because these are the guys that are listening. They're like, how did you do that? Like, how did you mentally go from being okay with being walked all over by women and being a friend when you wanted something else to the, like, you're the girl for me tonight and we're going to have sex? Like, where is that transition? Where did the confidence come from? That in between? Was it really just like going to the school where people hated you?
I mean, kind of, and it was just, I had sex at orientation, so I kind of I think went into like this with like, okay, this is just what's going to happen all the time now.
I like this.
But I did have a girlfriend my freshman year who was just very cute and same type of thing. But I pledged a fraternity, got into the fraternity, got all this attention out of nowhere. It's kind of like I took it as like the intro to fame.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden all these people know you and you're just like, how the hell? I don't know who you are, but they know some guy who's also...
orientation.
So it's just kind of like became... It just changed. I just didn't want to be dating a girl and was just like, I'm not going to be a good boyfriend to you anymore. We need to stop.
Well, that's good. Were you mean
because
to
you
her?
were enjoying what you were doing, right? Like
I knew I was gonna be bad for a little while, so I was like, I can't.
Were you ever bad for a little while?
Oh yeah, I was bad for a few years. Not with her.
Okay, so during this time, you still always were respectful. Like you would say to her, like, "It's not going to happen."
Yeah,
I need to have sex with many women before.
Yes, multiples.
Exactly, which is fantastic for Amaya,
But
because now you have tons of experiences under your belt.
Is it fantastic?
Literally
It
under
is.
your belt.
Yeah.
I'm sure she loves it. like exactly. No, but that's good. Okay, so you got this confidence boost from a magical bean, obviously.
Yes.
From orientation
Magical
sex.
bean
That's
called
what they call
ecstasy.
it.
Yes, there you go. No, but that's good. So then
Called my
you went
penis.
through. You had fun in college, and then did you get into relationship mode, or what was your dating life after?
Yes, I got into. I got my heart broken very badly. A girl who, during my kind of really bad period, really bad period meaning just like
You'd have sex with lots of
I've
women.
had sex with lots of women. I was just partying all the time.
Would you ever
was
be
one-
jerks
I love
to
how
those
some guys
women,
would call
though?
that my good period.
I know exactly. No, but I respect that. I like Paul.
Yeah.
I like pee-pee. So, like when you were going through that period, were you a jerk to girls, or were you just honest?
I would say I was more honest. I was never. I mean, I never being a jerk and I was never the guy who was like, get out of my room. I'm done with you. I would be like, God, what are you doing, man?
Right.
Like, I can't even believe I associate with someone who does. Like, I can't. I never identify with the behavior that was like, guys just in,
Who belittled women?
Belittled. That's the word I'm looking for.
That's what kept me prude for like my entire youth, because I had a lot of guy friends who would do that, and I'd be like, I'm not going to be one of these girls. I'm never going to be one of these girls
Yeah,
that
I
you
never
talk about.
identified with like that alpha, like this is just what we're doing to women type thing. I didn't,
Yeah.
I just didn't get it ever. So I had my heart broken pretty badly by a girl who I had no idea had feelings for me, but was always hanging out and was like just awesome, very cool, very always whenever I did anything like pass out too early, she always put me to bed, and our relationship kind of developed between the two of us. But I was still like I'm not going to be good to you, like I can't. And she wanted a relationship, and I just didn't. And then the school year ended. This was somewhere between sophomore and junior year, excuse me. And as the summer went on, I was like, we were talking every day, and I was like, oh my God, I think I'm like, ugh, for this guy, I can't believe this. And then little did I know that she had started a relationship with a guy from her hometown.
Right.
So when we got back, the first night of junior year, I remember going over to her room, and I was like, I got to tell her, I'm in love with her and everything. And then I got there, and there was like all these dudes from her hometown, which like I had met through, whatever, the year partying and everything. And then the end of the night came, and I had said to her, I was like, are we going to hang out more this year? Like just me and you? And she was like, yeah. But I could sense something was up.
She's like, yeah, buddy,
and then
you rejected
everyone,
me.
yeah, and then everyone at the party left except for this dude. It was just me, her, and this dude. And I was just like,
Oh no.
hey, you don't go to school here. What are you still? Oh, I'm going to
Muscle flex off at that
Yeah,
point.
I was like, oh, I'm going to go punch a trash can.
And by trash can, I mean this girl.
Yeah, no.
He's nice.
No, I know.
So yeah, that happened, and then that was a lot of things changed between sophomore and junior year. People get like way serious. It was a very, very big change. So things kind of calmed down on the random sex front. There's a lot less partying and a lot less of that. So then I got
It's
into
serious in junior year. I
Oh,
guess.
it's very serious. Everyone gets their haircuts and they declare their majors.
I went to
and
Canadian
it's like,
university, so I don't know.
Oh,
I don't
really?
know what it's like over here.
I don't even know what that is.
Canada.
Elementary
Canada?
is
Oh,
Canada.
got you.
It's north of you.
Canada.
It's a lesser education.
What? Better education.
How dare you?
Exactly.
So it just got more serious, and then I got a girl who was a disaster
Yeah.
my second half of junior year into the rest of my senior year. And that was
That's
the
a good
time I
learning
got
experience.
basically from the time I got my heart broken. I feel like everyone has the same dating experiences. Is they get their heart broken, they date the wrong girl, they date the right girl, they date the wrong girl that they think is the right girl.
Yeah.
And then they find
The actual.
they get closer, as they begin to land in right girl territory, and then they eventually land in right girl
And then
territory.
it's right. I love that your heartbreak just was like her liking another guy. My heartbreak story is way worse. That resulted in me having a stroke. Like that's my heartbreak story. Like all in the same.
It was a
year.
body break story.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Oh,
like
no.
we had dated, we were madly in love. I became obsessed with him anyway, it's a long story. I'll talk about it another time. But yeah, I had like a year and a half of just craziness of playing mind games with myself. And I had to sit beside him every day in business school class because we had assigned seating and we were together when we first started the semester. So I would go in one day and I'd just be like, I'm going to be really friendly today. Then the next day I'd be like, I'm ignoring him. I would just play all these games with myself, and he would probably look at me thinking, you are the most insane person in the world. And I thought in my head, I'm winning him back. Like, it was just, anyway, that's my heartbreak story. So your heartbreak story sounds a lot nicer.
Well, it's not the only time I am heartbroken.
My heartbreak story was during the Titanic when Leonardo DiCaprio died.
When he sang, I cried during that part. I'm not ashamed of it.
My heart has not broke more since.
And it hasn't healed.
It's pathetic. No,
That's
That was,
not
that was a great shot
heart.
when he was just sinking down to the darkness and the
handsome
coldness.
I want to ask one more question now
Go for it.
about the
Boot. Now I hear it. Okay. I'm
Damn
sorry.
it! I've been busted. Wait till I say sorry 10 times in a row. Yeah, it's horrible. My husband said it's going away though. He's like, "Oh, you sounded so American when you said sorry." I was like, "Oh, fancy."
Rules on the wrong person.
Yeah, exactly. So what was it about this girl that said to you, "This is the right girl"?
My fiance?
Yeah, and I'm going to propose to her.
It wasn't just one thing. It was a culmination of little things.
Like old age.
Yeah, I knew she was gonna. I knew she was gonna age well.
Yeah.
First and foremost. No, it was just it was a few. It was. I mean, the timing. The timing has to be right for anything to happen. I mean, I it's not like that. I was looking for something at all, and it's not like she was at all. It's just we happened to run into each other at this period, in our lives where it was like, I like you. Let's hang out a little bit. We could hang out together. We could make each other laugh. I've never in 2+ years gone to bed angry. Neither has she. There's never an argument that goes into the next day.
That's great.
There's never,
Holy shit.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe I'm
You're not
saying.
gonna
I
last.
cannot relate.
You're not gonna
relate
last.
to this at all.
I'm not. I couldn't either because I know one way to do things. I know I disagree with you. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that, and
the
I
way of
know,
the world.
and I know. Oh, fuck me, fuck you.
Right.
I'm leaving, and I'm never talking to you ever again.
Right.
Instead, it was like, hey, I don't really know how I feel about this, and it would be like, oh, do you want to talk about it? And I was like, oh, I don't really know what else to talk about. I said my thing, and it was just
Really?
kind of, there's a lot of discussion.
So you have similar temperaments, it sounds like.
I'm way more. I have way shorter of a fuse than her. I think that's a normal thing. But she doesn't hold that against me. That's never held
great.
over my head. She just understands that's me, and she loves me for it. And
I love that. That's a good partnership.
It's crazy. It's like my life. I'm saying to everyone, like, my life is super real, and it's like it's very real at this moment.
Nice.
'Cause I have
You're making me
discussions.
want to vomit.
I know. You're like, this is not the good
just-
replacement.
That was my goal.
This
I
is
was
the
like,
replacement we were looking for. We wanted you to be much douchier and have a horrible relationship.
I look way douchier than I am.
Yeah, no.
Thank
No,
you.
you look sweet.
Thanks.
No, you
very
do look
sweet. But like a bad boy.
Yeah.
I don't know. With like an edge. I just want to say one more thing before we go to the break. I actually had a topic for the Man's Playbook, but I think we covered a lot of things in this conversation.
Yeah.
But I was out for dinner with my girlfriends on Saturday night, and it was funny because one of them is single, and one of them is going to be on the show as well. She's like gorgeous. She's an actress. But she's single, and then the other girls were in relationships, and it was just interesting listening to her talk about what she's looking for versus what all of us have settled for. And I'm just joking. No, what all of us, how we now see the definition of a relationship. And so she had this list of things that she needed in a partner, and each of us sort of took a moment to not educate her, because that's not what we were trying to do, but to inform her on, that sounds lovely, but that's actually not how me and my partner are.
Right.
Like that. And then each person would kind of say the same thing of like, I love this person so much that I got over that thing that I needed and worked past that. Anyway, this is too much to go into. We can have a whole topic about this one day. But I like what you were saying. Like, in terms of partners, there are certain things that are essential. Like the fact that you can actually fight fairly. You may not fight fairly in the very beginning.
Right.
But if you can learn to fight fairly, then that is a great potential partner for you for your future. Because you're looking for a partnership. That's what marriage is. You're looking for a long-term partnership of somebody to go through shit with. There's all the, other wonderful stuff too that, would be wonderful to be involved in your relationship. But in terms of partnership, the fact that you do know how to fight with each other fairly, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's amazing. All right. So after the break, who do we have on the show?
We have Brande Roderick, who used to be a Playboy Playmate.
When did she used to be a Playboy Playmate?
2000.
Okay.
14.
I bet you she's a hot woman now.
Yes, she's a woman. She actually used to be in Starsky, or she was in Starsky and Hutch, and she
the
was,
original.
No.
Oh,
she would have been like a child.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
The Nanny Diaries. She's been in a lot of stuff. She's an actress too. Just Shoot Me, Fear Factor, Beverly Hills 90210.
Oh wow, I totally know who she is then.
You do know who she is?
Well, I don't know who she is, but like if she's on all of these things, yeah. Oh my God, I just want to say one thing. So Justine, who we had on the show, I'm not sure if she talked about it, but she did a whole Beverly Hills 90210 tour of Los Angeles. She just went out by herself and went out to all of
That's
the
embarrassing.
houses. But she went there. People live in these houses where they live,
right.
and they were getting so pissed off at her. It was horrible. But she took a ton of pictures of like Dylan McKay's house,
of
Brenda
so funny.
Walsh's house. She had a blast.
I believe
That's
it.
funny.
Yeah.
I'd go to the Home Alone house. That's the only, that and the Christmas Story house because I'm into Christmas.
That's good. All right, we'll be back after the break. We're going to have Analyze This and Brande. The worst thing in the world with women is forgetting Valentine's Day. Honestly, it's like she'll chop off your penis if you forget Valentine's Day. It's the worst thing in the entire world. Pro Flowers is quick, it's easy, and delivery on Valentine's Day is guaranteed. You can't beat the price or the convenience. Best value, you get it done early, choose a delivery date, and check it off your list. Sign up right now so that you don't have to think about Valentine's Day in the future. Even if you already have Valentine's Day plans, you still need flowers delivered. It's a must. Pro Flowers are guaranteed to last 7 days or your money back. It's a no-brainer. I actually send flowers through Pro Flowers to my mother-in-law for her birthday. I know it's not Valentine's Day, but she loved them. They were beautiful. They were on time. They lasted for a very long time, and she was very happy, and I think she likes me even more now. Here's the only way to get this amazing Valentine's Day deal. 100 blooms of love with free glass vase for just $19.99, or upgrade and add chocolates and a teddy bear for just $9.99 more. Go to proflowers.com, click on the blue microphone in the top right corner, and type in Ask Women. That's proflowers.com, click on the microphone, and type in Ask Women. Order today. This deal expires at midnight.
Only new Arm & Hammer Clump and Seal cat litter guarantees an odor-free home for 7 days.
My name is Erin. I manage a pet sitting company. I honestly feel like I have the most experience with litter boxes of any person I know. Clump and Seal is totally different. Even after 7 days, I did not notice any odor. You're not getting the dust that comes up. There was some sort of sealing magic happening.
New Arm & Hammer Clump and Seal cat litter. 7-day odor-free home guaranteed. Look on the package for $3 off.
Buy a box, see what you think in 7 days, because it's legit.
This is an important announcement for anyone with a student loan who is having trouble making their monthly payments. If that's you, pay attention, because there's a special toll-free hotline that has been set up especially for you. So grab a pen and take this number down, or put it in your cell phone. 1-800-652-3707. That's 1-800-652-3707. When you call the National Student Loan Relief Hotline, you will get free information. That's free information to help you relieve the overwhelming financial burden of an ongoing, endless student loan. If you are behind, late on payments, or even in default of your student loan, the National Student Loan Relief Hotline can help you. You may also be able to cut your payments in half right away. The National Student Loan Relief Hotline can also stop the harassing phone calls, wage garnishments, and even remove tax liens. The National Student Loan Relief partner companies have helped thousands of people just like you fix their student loan problem. Call 1-800-652-3707 for free information today. That's 1-800-652-3707. You're listening to the Ask Women podcast, a Podcast One presentation.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Ask Women podcast. We are here with Brande. Brande, are you still on the phone?
Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
Brande Roderick. Thanks for being on the show.
Guys.
I like your name. That's a good name, Brande Roderick. We have a lot of good names on the show today.
Powerful name.
Very powerful. I like it. Yeah,
Just like your
so
hairline.
thank you for coming on the show. So actually, Kristen's going to give a little intro as to who Brande is, but maybe Brande wants to explain who she is.
Since you're a male-driven audience that's asking for advice, I'm actually starting up a dating service, a new kind of unique dating service for men, which is kind of fun because matchmaking is something I've always enjoyed doing and love doing. Like you guys get all the time. You get all these fun and interesting questions from guys, and who better to hear the answers from than, a woman. And I love the concept of your show.
Absolutely. So you've started, or you're going to start a matchmaking business?
Yeah. I'm very excited about it. It's myself, Angelica Bridges, and Tracy Bingham, and we are going to personally help people find their match. And we're basing it on more exact what your interests are and what you really want out of life and out of a partner, instead of going on like a Match.com where it's all about looks and booty calls.
Right.
So we're really helping them look for lifelong partners.
Well, that's interesting because we were talking about that before the break. We were talking about what makes a good, we only talked about it briefly, but what makes a good partner. So I would love for you to expand on that a little bit further, because you were saying that it's not the superficial, which does, it has to come into play a little bit. But when you're talking about potentially partnering people up and actually being a matchmaker, saying you guys would be a good match for life, what is it that you're looking for that says to you good partners?
Well, I mean, it's the first thing that people tend to, I don't know why they overlook it, but you really have to look at where they're at in their life. Do they want somebody that wants kids? Do they want somebody that has no kids? Do they, want to get married? Like, those kind of things are very, very important to find out up front before you even go out with a person, because why waste your time if you're dating a guy who already has 2 kids and has no interest in starting a family with you? That is kind of first and foremost the question. And then it's about, what are you looking for in a person? What kinds of things do you enjoy? What are you looking for this person as far as, do you want them to be able to work? Do you want them not to work? Do you want them to stay at home? Those kinds of things, come up later, and when you're starting to date and you're like, wait a minute, I didn't realize you wanted me to stay home and not work. Right. There's all kinds of little things like that go way beyond just looks.
Well, we talk a lot about expectations on this show, and that's what I think online dating is. It's like you're putting out your ideal into the world and saying, okay, who sort of fits into my ideal? But when it comes down to it, you would be willing to switch that picture for somebody else that comes along. Because I'll say that when I met my husband, I would say that I would definitely say that he wasn't what I was looking for. At that time, I was dating only Jewish guys because I'm Jewish and that's all that I knew. If you were like over 5'8", I'd be like, no way, buddy, I can't even see you, so I wouldn't date you. They would wear glasses and they'd be partially balding, not an aggressive hairline like our friend Paul over here. And so for me, my husband wasn't even in my zone of what I was looking for. And so he kind of caught me off guard when I did start interacting with him. And it was like a couple of times later that I realized, this guy's kind of attractive. I had to ask my friend, is he cute? I can't tell. and then I asked him out. So for matchmaking, I love that these questions are being asked because they're really essential, important questions for people to think about. But do you find that they can pigeonhole people sometimes, and you may be missing out on fantastic opportunities because somebody that may not fit into that criteria you've listed may potentially be a great partner for you?
Absolutely, because I kind of was in a similar situation. I was a girl who had I don't know about high expectations, but I had these things that had to be met. Right. And one of them was, I don't want to date a guy that has kids. And lo and behold, not only do I date a guy who has a kid, he has 3 kids.
Really? See, that's interesting.
Yeah, and then he ends up being my husband.
There you go.
If I didn't, go outside the box, and open up my eyes, and have those other unrealistic expectations, and I wouldn't be married and have 2 beautiful children right now.
Right.
So I definitely think people need to think outside the box of what their idealistic mate is, and that's something like for me, I'm going to try to help these people realize, don't be unrealistic. You don't really have to have, like, a lot of women are the opposite of you. They want somebody over 6 foot. Well, let's not be shallow, and let's try to look at people under 6 foot too.
Right.
It might be perfect in every other way, but that one thing. So,
well, what got you to open your eyes to guys that have children?
Meeting him.
Meeting him. Okay. So that's, but had you met other guys before that had children that you're like, nah, no, thank you?
No, it was just kind of my ideal of, like, I wanted to be the first of everything. The first to have a child with my husband, the first, of all those experiences. But, you take the good with the other, and it ended up being great, and I have great stepchildren, so.
That's awesome. So what was it about this guy so that you're like, fine, I'll take it, give me 3 kids?
Yeah. Well, for me, I dated him for a little while, a couple months, because I was at the time, I call auditioning men to be a husband.
Really?
And so what ended up happening was he was the one that stood out as feeling like we came from the same mold. He felt like home. It was comfortable. And so from there, it's just like, and then I got to meet his family and his kids, and it was home. It felt like home.
That's nice. That's what Kristen was saying before, too. Well, I don't even know if that was off air, but...
Yeah, I mean, I always look for something that doesn't feel like you have to be anything different than what you are. And it's good, but it's good to be challenged, but at the same time, you need to feel like you're home. And I've always said that about my boyfriend. Yeah. When I'm with him, I just feel like I'm home.
Yeah?
Yeah. It makes it nice.
Very nice. Tell me more about this auditioning husbands. What does that mean?
So, at the time when, I was ready to get married, I was hitting, I was 31. So I was like, okay, I want to get serious now. So there were 3 top contenders that I thought were good potential husband material. So I dated all 3 of them at the same time. I said I was going to give each one 3 months, and did it. And one was kind of a little too stuffy for me. He had the money, but he was a little too stuffy. The other one didn't. He was an actor, so I really didn't want to end up living that lifestyle. And then, of course, the third is my husband, who ended up being perfect for me.
Okay, so you didn't audition that many guys.
It wasn't a cattle call.
Yeah, it wasn't a cattle call audition. Right. It was just it was a small...
these were the final 3. This is the final episode.
How did you meet all of these 3 different men?
One I met at an event, a red carpet event. The other one I met through a friend. And then my husband, who actually it turned out that he saw me on this show I was on called The Surreal Life. And he saw me and said, that's the girl I want to marry. And at the time, he was helping his friend produce a film. So he called my agent to have him come in and read for the role. And there was instant chemistry. And then after that, he asked me to come on his radio show. He had a sports radio show. Very Hollywood. But I never knew about it.
I love it. Can you just call her agent and see if she wants to date me?
You were auditioning to be his wife.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, who's doing the auditioning now?
I never knew about it until after we were already engaged. The producer's wife had told me about this whole scenario, and he never told me because he didn't want to seem like a stalker. But
well, that's actually funny.
Flattered.
I heard that's actually how Tom Cruise met Katie Holmes. Was that he told his agent that he wanted to meet her. Obviously, that went a different direction than where you guys are.
Yeah.
Well, same thing with Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston. Like their publicist or something introduced them.
Yeah,
right.
I know. Yeah. Gosh. Okay. Everybody move to LA and now get a publicist or an agent.
To put this in perspective for people who don't live in Hollywood, how would you suggest going about to meet the right person without those circumstances?
I think that a great place to meet somebody is whatever your interest is. And whatever it is you really enjoy and like to do, go out and try to meet people there. If you're like a stockbroker type,
I'm not going to say a stalker. Yeah. Like if you're a stalker, just hang outside their house, and they'll eventually come outside.
If you're a big reader, go to the library. I don't know, go to wherever your interests are. If you're a big motocross person and you want to meet somebody that enjoys that, go to the motocross races.
Yeah.
Go dancing if you like dancing, salsa dancing, whatever your little interest is. I think that you need to reach out and go in those types of
For sure. A lot of guys write in and ask me these questions as well. Like, okay, I've tried online dating or I've tried bars. Okay, where else do I go for women? Like, I haven't met anybody. And I say those are some places you can meet women, but I say
he's like, well, my interest is drinking.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, then go to wine tasting. Anyway,
that's true.
But you can, aside from like if you like reading, join a book club. There are so many places right now, and there's this thing called Google. I don't know if you guys have heard of it before, but you go onto Google and you type in criteria for things, and then like all these responses pop up that help you find out where other people are doing similar things to you. So meetup.com is a fantastic place. There's tons of singles events that happen every single day that you can be a part of, where there's other people who are like-minded and have similar hobbies and interests to you. So that it's like you're going somewhere where you're like, oh, okay, I'm not going to this event that has tons of people who are already in relationships, but I'm going where there's single people who also like the things that I like and enjoy, which gives you commonality, something to talk about. There's a base there. So I think that that's fantastic advice.
Well, no, that's exactly, and it's funny that you bring that up because that's exactly what we're going to do with our dating service. Is it's also going to be, it's hooking up the like-minded people in their interests and what they want, going on trips, traveling, having wine tastings, sporting events, horse racing events, all these different things that we're going to pair up these people with these events. So that's one of the fun things that we're going to be doing.
I love that. And do you know what this is going to be called? Because it doesn't exist yet, right?
No, it doesn't. We're right now in the middle of, with our attorney, trying to get the name that we want. So
all right.
Once we get the name that we want, we have everything lined up to get our website started and get the marketing rolling. So we think probably in the spring we'll be up and running. You can just follow me on my website or Twitter or Instagram, whatever, and eventually, I'll put all the information up there.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Well, we have this segment that's called Analyze This, and I know you're going to stick around for, but where we have men and women write us in questions, and then basically we judge them. No, we analyze the questions and we give answers to their questions as best we can, because we all have different perspectives. We come from different places. So we give well-rounded answers, hopefully. Good. So are you ready to analyze this?
Yeah, I am ready.
Okay, good. Anybody who does want to write in questions, write into ask@askwomenpodcast.com. I started going through emails, like things I'm reading questions now that are back from in October. Wow. We are that horrible. That's why we're doing lots of episodes that are just analyze this. So here is the first question. Okay, I am 47 years old and recently divorced, and it has taught me so much more than I ever thought. I have a question for you. I met a girl during the whole process of my divorce. She was recently divorced as well. I know she is attracted to me. For obvious reasons, I did not pursue her until my divorce was final. Now that it's over, I want to move forward on getting to know her better. What are your thoughts on this? I am definitely a leader with women. However, I know women process things like this very quickly, and most of them are apprehensive with recently divorced men. I don't want to rush things. Do you have any thoughts? W.
So they were both previously in male relationships, and now is that basically?
Oh no, they were both going through divorces, and so now his divorce is final. He didn't want to do anything about it while still going through the divorce, but he felt a vibe between the two of them. But the interesting thing that I want to point out that he did say was, I know women process things like this very quickly, and most of them are apprehensive with recently divorced men. I think that's a really interesting point that he makes, because I talk about this a lot with most of the guys that I work with about mind reading and reading minds. And I always say to guys like, oh, it's so fantastic that you can read this woman's mind, that you know that she's going to have an issue.
Guys can't
with
read
you
minds.
being raised. That's what I'm trying to say.
Guys can barely
Nobody
read.
can read minds.
Right.
Exactly. If you could read a mind, you would have the biggest gift in the entire world. So all of these men,
especially in my mind,
I would say it's a curse.
Right, who tell me about what these women are thinking or are feeling without knowing these women. I'm like, okay, fantastic. You're a mind reader. You know what to do then. You know exactly what she wants. You don't need my help.
Here's what jams me up about this email is that, a leader doesn't send an email.
What do you mean?
No one's like, hey, I need some advice. I'm great with women, but here's my email that I need advice with. Like, you don't. I think it's a contradiction to be like, I'm a leader with women, but here's the deal. I don't know what to do.
He's not saying he's a leader with women. He did say
he's a leader with women.
So this is a shortcoming he has in this particular situation.
Maybe it just means he takes the lead. Usually,
right.
And in this case, it's a sensitive matter, so he wants to know if he should go ahead and take the lead or not on this one.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, if you take the lead, then just do it. And if it doesn't happen, then she's not into that kind of
absolutely.
Person,
that's why like that would be my response as well. Like,
Right.
don't waste your time writing in this question. You know exactly what to do. This is just him protecting himself and wanting to make sure that I can say, "Oh no, you're fine. Go for it." She
Right.
won't have any apprehension. The thing is that yes, I'm sure there are going to be women that have some apprehension towards dating a man who's recently divorced. But just like what Brande said, where before she said, "I don't want to date men who have children." You may have this vision of how you're going to react in your own mind, but when you do interact with this person who may be everything wonderful except he has kids, you can be open to adjusting how you envision the perfect scenario happening.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, if she's interested, she's going to go out with you.
Yeah,
whether you're recently divorced or not. So you might as well just ask her out.
I think so too. I think so too. So he said, "Do you have any thoughts?" So the thought is, just go for it.
Go for it.
But so what are the thoughts? Like, how should he ask her out?
Go slow. Coffee. I think going out and meeting somebody for coffee or an early dinner, something like that, is totally fine.
Well, also they can come together on the fact that they both just went through divorces, so they obviously have something in common. They
go
know
to
that.
a firing range.
Right. Get out some steam.
Exactly.
Right.
All right. So W, that's what we all think you should do. We think you should go for it. Just ask this girl out and stop using your divorce and her divorce as an excuse because they're just
he's scared, he's procrastinating.
He's cautious. He doesn't, he wants to protect himself. I totally get that. Most people do. But if you are really a leader, as Paul said, you just go for it. And then if she wants to say no to you, let her reject you instead of you rejecting yourself. All right. Yeah. Next question. Do women ever fear they'll fart during sex? Also,
I'm
what
the
if you have to
perfect
fart?
person to answer this question. Yes.
Yes. And then also, what if you have to fart during sex or making out? What do you do?
First of all, okay, I'll answer this question because I am the gassiest human being in the entire universe. Dairy or no dairy, and I actually never have to fart during sex. So I don't think...
Really?
Yeah, I think your body...
No,
I do. I think it just in that... I mean, yes, you might have to. But, I mean, for me, if I was going to by now, I would have. And sometimes I don't want to have sex because I'm gassy, and maybe I'm only having sex when
So you've never farted during sex?
No. But I'm probably going, no, I'm really going to blow
happen.
your face off of it.
Exactly. You better watch out.
Yeah.
That was also, so guys being mean to other girls was one reason I never made out with people, but the other reason was because I had stomach issues when I was younger. So, I would always have to fart. So I never wanted to make out with anybody. So my stomach would always hurt in some way. So now that I eat paleo, it's totally fine. So it's not an issue. But yeah, that was a huge fear. But so I want to talk about the second part. So what if you have to fart during sex or making out? This is we've never had a question like this before. So my husband,
thank God.
I remember when I first started dating him, he would always be doing laundry whenever I got over to his house. And I just thought he was a really clean person. And then later on, he told me that he would go stand beside the dryer or the washing machine because it was so noisy because he would fart over there. Because he turns out he's the gassiest person in the entire world. I remember his friend was visiting once and I was like, oh yeah, Jordan never farts. And then he was like, what are you talking about? Because they used to live with each other. And then I was like, oh, I wouldn't mind if he farted in front of me. And then of course the floodgates open and suddenly he just never stopped
a special
farting.
Fart place?
Yeah, so but he would go beside the dryer. So sometimes he'd be we'd be making out and he'd be like, I just have to go check on the laundry.
So check on the laundry.
Yeah,
that is
exactly.
So bizarre.
So that was his thing before. So that's an option for you. Just start doing a lot of laundry.
God, I need to get a washing machine in my apartment.
I know, seriously. So yes, to the answer, there is a fear that you will fart during sex sometimes. And
just have to hold it in.
Yeah.
Hold it in, and if you can't, say, oh, I got to go to the bathroom. I drank so much water today, and keep getting up and going to the bathroom and letting it out.
Exactly. Okay, good answer. All right, next question. I met a super hot girl yesterday. I went after her with a fair amount of gusto. Made it quite obvious I found her attractive, but it seemed to make her uncomfortable. What might I have done wrong? What could I have done better next time?
What did he do? He went after her with gusto?
Yeah.
Yes.
What is gusto?
What is that supposed to mean? That he just
that means he yelled at her that she was hot, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, you never want to come come on to somebody that strong.
Right. Every time
Agree.
that's ever happened to me, which it's not happened often, but the few times it has, it's really kind of scared me and pushed me back because Marni's talked about a lot. We need to know, women are trying to assess if you're worth, who you are, and if it's worth having it back and forth with. And when you just approach someone with so much gusto, I feel like we're getting back to the fart question now with the word gusto. He farted on her. You immediately put someone off because they don't know your worth yet. Like, they don't know what it is you're offering to them. So,
and plus, it's kind of like, it reminds me of if somebody's like talking too close to you and you start like, you keep walking back and walking back and they keep getting closer and closer. You're like, whoa, dude.
Close talker.
No one wants you in their face like that.
Yeah. I also find that, I guess, gusto could describe somebody who's not really paying attention to what's happening on the other end.
Correct.
So he's not so it's like, there's a lot of guys who approach and they have a whole routine in place. So when they have a routine, they can't connect because they're not actually connecting to another human being. They're not being present, which means they're one step ahead of the interaction. So if a woman can't feel that you're present and that you're actually talking to her and you're not one question ahead of her, of her responses, then that automatically is going to feel creepy for her, and she's going to want to get away from you. Plus, I think the proximity thing is huge too. So, we don't know exactly what you did. If you can make a video of yourself, that would be fantastic to see what gusto actually means. But that was my read on the question as well. That it was just like you came on too strong, and that possibly made her uncomfortable. So the thing to do better next time is to take a step back and really be more present in your interaction. Like it's fine to be direct. It's great to be confident in your approach, but to actually, absolutely. But to take your time in actually being a part of the interaction. So if she is giving you a sign that's saying, okay, well, you got to back up a bit, and you actually back up, that's going to make her feel more comfortable. But if you totally ignore it and blow past it, that's going to creep her out completely.
Yeah, good advice.
Okay, next question. All right.
She knows what she's talking about.
Yeah.
I'm on it, guys. Okay, so this is a bit of a long one. Okay, I'm a big fan. I work in the evenings, usually alone, so I really enjoy listening to your podcast to keep my mind stimulated as I work through the boring day. Exactly. I'm 23. I work 40 hours a week for the San Diego Unified School District, support myself through school part-time, and am an active performing and recording musician in the San Diego area. Beyond that, I feel like I'm a good-looking guy. I'm currently in a committed relationship with a very attractive girl, but I'm struggling with a myriad of thoughts. Good word. I only know that word because of the movie Heathers. I see beautiful people.
I wouldn't brag about that.
I know, seriously. That's where I was first introduced to the word.
Okay,
yeah, it's not the only reason I know it. I see beautiful people my age at school who I often think upon seeing them that it would be nice to strike up a conversation, but I refrain from it out of respect for my commitment to another, which is fantastic. I'm also struggling with the thought that I'm sort of bored in my current relationship, and I often think, what am I missing out on with someone else? My girlfriend sees herself with me till death do us part. She 23. She has dreamt of children and a married life together and vocalized it, but that thought is so not anywhere near the forefront of my mind at this time. Rather, my mind is on my music, school, and overall improving the quality of life. Is this merely temptation that I'm always going to struggle with, or is this a perfect reason to break up? Actually, I think Paul's the best person to answer this question, because that's basically what you described in the first half of the show, was you having situations like this with girls.
Well, yeah, I mean, a couple things stand out to me about this email. I mean, you should never refrain from having a conversation with someone out of respect to another. That's not a really healthy thing, in my opinion. I mean, if he said refraining from banging every girl he sees, then I'd be like, yeah, okay,
Right.
then you're all right. But you should never hold back from being, yourself. The person you're with should never do anything but empower you to be more yourself.
Absolutely.
Is the way that I feel. First of all, also, second point, not first of all, you're 23. Relax. Third point, that temptation is always going to be there. I mean, I
Even
work...
when you're 80.
Yeah, I work in a pretty kind of a hotbed for single people, and there's a lot of attractive women that come into where I work, and I mean, I'm not going to lie and say the temptation isn't there, but it's just something that's not you learn how to compartmentalize and be like, no, I'm not missing out on anything. That they're just having, that person's having their experience, and what they're experiencing has pales in comparison to mine. And also when you're 23, you don't have any idea. Like you're very black and white. It's either like I'm single and having the time of my life, or I'm, Chris Rock's joke, married and bored, single, single and lonely. It's never that black and white.
Right.
But when you're 23, you don't know that. So you always think the grass is greener on the other side.
Listen, at 33, you think the grass is greener. At 40, sometimes
That's
no
true.
matter what, depending what situation
That's
you're in,
true, but I do think he's not happy in his current relationship.
Right.
I think he knows that she isn't the one. And I think, again, this is another situation that he may be procrastinating doing what he knows he should do, like the first guy, which is break up.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do, so you want to do anything not to do that. But I think that's the point that he'll eventually have to come to.
I mean, if you're happy, you don't wonder if you're happy.
Right. I completely agree with that. So I would say, this is to Anonymous, my advice to Anonymous is to take some time to really think, okay, is this girl...
I love how he put his name as Anonymous, but told us everything about himself, so we could totally find out who he is.
The unified school district. All right, we're going to find you, Anonymous. But yeah, so I would really take some time for you to think. Maybe take like a week and write stuff down. Talk to your friends about this. Talk to people that you trust, or even just really talk to yourself and figure out, do I feel the same way as this girl? If you are not as certain as she is, and most likely she's not as certain as she is either, but if you're not as certain as she thinks she is, then you have to think about going in another direction, maybe taking some time apart to explore these other options and see if it's for you, and then maybe get back together later on down the road. That would be my advice to Anonymous.
I think that he's 23 years old. He needs to pursue his career.
Absolutely.
He has to become established, do that. And in the meantime, date and have fun, but don't get serious with anyone, and just really pursue his career.
Yeah. And if you don't pursue your career and you all of a sudden, next thing you know, you are 30, you're going to have a lot of resentment built up because you didn't focus on you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that's all the time that we have for all these questions. But Brande, thank you so much for being on the show.
And sorry for the poor introduction with all the funny notes, because I totally know you from Celebrity Apprentice and all that kind of stuff. So sorry about that.
Sorry.
I have a whole chapter on my book about dating. So if anybody wants to read it, it's called Bounce, Don't Break, Brande's Guide to Life, Love, and Success. And you can get it at branderoderick.com or any, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, whatever.
Amazon,
and if you do get it on Amazon, go through wingirlmethod.com/Amazon, and that will help us keep this show on the air.
And I love the name of that book. I love the title.
Me too. But Brande, how can they get in touch with you on Twitter or Instagram?
Twitter is Brande N. Roderick. My middle initial, Nicole, Brande N. Roderick, and Instagram is just Brande Roderick.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being on the show and being available so last minute. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. It was a lot of fun hanging with you girls.
I'm glad. Well, next time we have to have you in studio, not on the phone, because we definitely want to hang out with you. But thank you again. And anybody who is listening, or anybody who was listening, anybody who is listening to the show, if you want to ask questions, make sure you have a really interesting subject line, because that is going to get your question answered faster. But write into ask@askwomenpodcast.com. You can definitely follow us on Twitter as well at Ask Women Podcast, and make sure that if you do go to Amazon and you do want to buy anything, toilet paper, cleaning products, whatever, Brande's book, please use our Amazon page, which is winggirlmethod.com/Amazon, and that helps to support the show and keep us on air. And we will see you next week. Paul, thank you so much for being on with us and being so open and honest with us. Yes, PP. I'm sure you'll be back with us. All right, see you guys next week.